Hello everyone, Sol Invictus here. Today I've got quite the gem for you guys. It is going to be a battle that was sent to me by Hunter, where he faces Galatia with Masasili. I would assume Hunter's top faction is Masasili from playing with him quite often. I'd like to kick this off by saying thank you to the new subs. We've seen quite a growth in the channel. I believe we've gained something like 20 subs in the past 3 weeks or so, which is not massive. It's very humble, but it's appreciated as long as you guys are happy seeing some Rome 2 Total War. So today's video is going to focus on Hunter's playstyle. So this guy has been my kryptonite lately, really. Super hard to crack him, especially when he's using the Numidian faction. So what we'll go over is try to analyze his builds a little, try to see the hints that his build gives, and we'll also be covering some of the things that is very important when we're facing this player. So this is, I guess you could say, kind of a video to honor this guy, really. It's the first time I feel like I should do that about a player, and he's truly good. So let us jump into it. So in front of me I have a little sheet of key things that I want to discuss about this player in particular. The battle we're about to see is pretty good as well, but truly it's going to be a focus on Hunter's playstyle. Obviously, Masasili is very hard to counter. It's a very strong faction. We've got very cheap shock cavalry at 690 denarii for shock cav. It's amazing price, really. We're also going to have these guys, which is an amazing skirmishing unit. They're extremely fast. You can also deploy them a guerrilla type deployment, so deploy them outside of your box, which is going to allow you to keep the skirmishing phase towards the enemy's main army, or in other words, in his very own territory. So we'll go over Galatia's build first, and then we'll focus on Hunter's build. So for Galatia, we've got the classic 5 Galatian Legionnaires build. That's going to be backed up by 3 Galatian swords. There's going to be 2 mercenary Cappadocian cav. I have a tough time making this cav work personally. I'm not sure what it is. That's it. I would assume it's just truly susceptible to precursors. There's going to be a noble horse, 3 Levy Freemen guarding his 3 Syrian archers. Here I found an interesting choice. We've got 2 mercenaries or skirmishers, as well as 1 Galatian raider. So he definitely went for these cheaper skirmishing units in order to be able to afford either those Syrian archer or the 5th Galatian legionnaire. We'll see, interestingly enough, his Galatian raider is going to be kept towards the inside of his formation, which means that these guys are going to be taking the blunt of the javelins. So far, not too good for Galatia, really. And we'll kick this off by saying the following. So whenever facing a player like Hunter, and particularly Hunter, it's truly important that you commit 100% to the skirmishing phase. The reason being is that if you do not pay attention, you take more loss than you should, you do not cause damage to his units, you will end up paying both early game in the sense that you will lose your skirmisher, and late game, because this guy is going to be very clever in the way he uses them late game. So these are the cheaper or skirmisher, but very often you'll see him bring the more expensive, heavy, and very melee efficient skirmishing cav. And therefore, if you give him an inch, he's going to take your whole arm really with those skirmishing cav. Especially that he's very skilled to control those cavalry. So for his build, we'll have those 4 amazing Numidian riders, like I said. So very low armor, decent charge, decent moral, very low cost. Heavy Numidian skirmishers, these guys are absolute beasts. So what's going to happen is that whenever a unit gets drawn in, and you can see that is a serrated formation like that is exactly for that purpose, to draw units in and expose their flank both to his shock cav and his missiles, either it be the slingers and or the Median skirmishers. For his build, Desert Legionnaires, that's going to be 4 of them. There's going to be 4 Desert Cohort. We'll see Armored Numidian Spearman. We'll press play. On his right flank, there's going to be 2 Numidian Light Infantry. So these guys are extremely cheap, actually. I believe they cost 380 denarii. And they have quite a charge bonus with 28. Can you imagine 80 charge bonus? Going crazy, gentlemen. So the first thing to see when you're facing Hunter is the following. How is he deploying his troops? So I don't know about you guys. The one thing I noticed there is going to be that extra armored Numidian Spearman. And we'll see throughout the battle, he's actually going to be pushing for the left flank of Galatia, so his right flank. So the first thing this guy's going to do is probably empower one of his flanks a little, and therefore it's going to give him an extra reach on the flanks. And you'll see in this battle, the interesting part is that the extra reach on his flank is going to mean, first and foremost, more pressure on the enemy cavalry, which is going to lead the opponent to play a bit more defensive with his cavalry. And then once he overreach, he can actually start collapsing towards the center. And that's it, rear charging the enemy swords unit that are engaged with his very own more than capable Desert Cohort and Desert Legionnaire. So if we look at the stats, the cohort actually have 65 moral. They're going to be deployed a bit backwards. So yeah, I'm not sure if we need to pay much attention to that. Perhaps there's a reason, and the reason I would assume is to draw units in. So for the skirmishing phase, obviously he's getting the upper end, which is often the case when playing versus this guy. So I came to the realization really that this guy is a beast at microing. And I believe what is his strength, Hunter's strength, is that all his build kind of share similarities, which mean that he is beyond used to microing them, and it's a very simple yet efficient ecosystem of units, and all of his build have the same mentality behind it. Like I was saying, the Numidian, in my humble opinion, are his top faction, but I've seen him play greatly with Nabatai as well. Very good with what's her name, Massilia? Yeah, Massilia. And interestingly enough, he doesn't use the elite Massilian spears. Another thing to notice in his formation is going to be those tribal slingers slanted a bit more to the right. So that means that once he starts colliding on the right side, his slingers are going to have less ground to cover to get to protection. Once the battle starts, we'll actually put that in slow motion because there's a lot of things I want to cover, and yeah, that's it. He's a good player, and there's many things that we need to see and understand about his play style. The first thing that we're going to see is an absolute commitment to breaking the initial charge of the enemy, which is, of course, for most player an absolute no-brainer, but the way he does it, he's just so committed to it. Even if he has an advantage, so let's say the Desert Legionnaire was to collide with the Levy Freeman, regardless, he will be using his armored Numidian riders to crush the Levy Freeman. What that's going to do is it's going to draw the sword unit in to get their jab in the cavalry, which is, of course, the smart thing to do. But then what this means is that his Desert Legionnaire himself are coming to support, and they're probably going to end up getting a charge on the Galatian Legionnaires if you're not careful. We will already see that overextension that I was mentioning under the form of an armored Numidian spearman. We'll see cavalry committing to that maneuver as well. Skirmishing fight, I would say, ended up, yeah, not equally. Still have the Galatian Raiders very healthy, and that's what I was talking about. So he broke those Levy Freemen, he draw in the Galatian Legionnaire, and it's a no-brainer, right? You don't want to get counter-charged, but the thing is that he's going to do it all across the battlefield really fast. And what this means is that it's very hard to follow up with him. Those Galatian Legionnaires did not get a great charge. Now we'll see an immediate support by his Desert Legionnaire, and we'll also pull back with the Desert Legionnaire, which is interesting because this unit is already winning. Once again, across the battlefield, we'll see the same thing. Whenever a unit is about to collide, there will be a charge blunting. So this charge blunting there is a bit acely, but it's probably just to protect the armored Numidian skirmisher. Rider. So once again, we'll see. Now there's support from the Cappadocian cavalry. And another thing worth noting, there's going to be a bit of a messed up charge, but he's still getting the Numidian riders in, and we'll see some of these units are actually going to punch through. So what I was going to say here is that once the armored Numidian riders has collided, he's going to get the initial charge, and therefore he's going to crush the swords, or at very least pin them down. Now the opponent is going to be sending the Cappadocian cavalry, or any type of cavalry, to counter the Hunter's cavalry, which is totally normal. But now what's going to happen is that you get in a vicious circle when you do that against this guy, because now what happens is that he's going to be pulling back his armored legionnaire faster than you are going to pull out your mercenary Cappadocian, because you basically started late those type of engagements he wants to get with you. And so you'll see this Cav will normally retreat before the Cappadocian and is going to be ready to land those rear charge. And this is the effect of the serrated formation. So those cavalry are now ready to be deployed elsewhere, as per the enemy's cavalry still in there. And you can't blame the Galatian player. He has so much micro all across the battlefield. Whenever one of his units is engaged and engaging a new unit, he's going to pull back. Very important. So he's very good on the pullback maneuver as well. And now the serrated formation, as you can see, is going to be slowly but surely opening up the flanks of the Galatian players. Now the overextension, and that's the thing I realized when facing Hunter. I think you need a little pocket of units in the back to redeploy whenever he starts doing those things. But now the problem with going to meet him on the flanks like that is that your units are completely exposed. Their back are exposed. And that's the exact same fashion I lose against this guy. There's 1 minute 35 left. So yeah, that's it. Even when the Levy Freeman collides, first and foremost, there's going to be the armored Numidian Riders charge. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully this covered a little bit of Hunter's playstyle. I really enjoy watching him play. You can see him on Heir of Carthage. He has his very own channel as well, by the way. So and he does live record. So serrated formation, here it pays. So there's going to be those rear charge starting to land. And that's really what makes Hunter win most battle, is going to be how quick he get those rear charge. This guy's actually going to fucking ignore your archers and slingers, and he's going to prioritize getting rear charge with his cavalry, which is, to me, very counterintuitive, actually. But seeing him do it, I mean, I understand now the absolute value of that. And you'll see whenever Hunter wins, it's not necessarily that he's going to have that many kills, because he makes your units route so fast. That's where he's going to be strong. I almost wonder what would happen if we would start playing with fire missiles, just instant fucking route all across the battlefield. This game, by the way, was sent to me by Hunter, so thank you for sending it, Hunter. I hope you're not mad at me for trying to find counters for you and just exposing it. I've been literally building some armies just for Hunter lately. I haven't had the chance to use them, but looking forward to do so. Like I said, the reliable counter is Swebby, but I mean, it just sucks if I play Swebby all the time, and fuck it, you know. Absolutely wrecked, Galatia. Thank you for playing, man. Yeah, you've been hunted. And yeah, that's it. I remain committed to beating Hunter one day. My friend, if you're listening this, let me tell you that much. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'll get you one day, my friend. 有志者事竟成. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I mean, just a little show of respect to Hunter. Great player, as you see. Not a lot of loss, a lot of kills. Not a lot of kills either, but a lot of these units started routing with a lot of units left in them. Excellent use of the Numidian light infantry as always. So they're going to be more of a like reserve flank unit, really. Excellent use of his general and the other heavy Numidian skirmisher. His cavalry, as always, like, even if he doesn't necessarily get that many kill out of them, what he do get out of them is going to be those rear charge, and therefore starting to break infantry, and therefore freeing up more of infantry, and so on and so forth. This armor Numidian spearman didn't even add to be used, really. He could have just left this unit in the back and would have won regardless. Then again, it had that tactical purpose. But yeah, thank you very much for sending, Mr. Hunter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoy this type of coverage where I focus mainly on the player and not as much on the battle, let me know. And if anything, it's once upon a time. I will leave a link to Hunter's channel. So he doesn't upload video. What he does is that he does streaming on YouTube, so you can just watch basically his battles, just navigate through the 2 hour 30 minute stream, and you'll find his battle and see how he actually micros his army. It's pretty impressive, and he has a very interesting way as well as of the way he looks at the battlefield. Basically super high, and therefore he has to worry less about his camera movement. Anyway, super interesting to see him play. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you to the new subscriber. Thank you to the old dogs as well. Thank you for sticking around. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, that's it. Sol Invictus signing up.